Hey, I'm back! Celebration! Let's celebrate it with the next text box. Through the smoke, Smoke? Which is smoke? I could see the silhouette of some sort of kaiju, the king of Ghidorah or something. I have no idea about what you're talking about. The date of release was June 2019, next year. Alright. Azusa Sasaki was her name. An author, I thought, absent-mindedly. Must be a meet and greet. I wandered to the near back of the store, still holding my bags. My eyes followed the check marks organizing various genres. Sure enough, there was a sold selection of manga resting on the shelf, in a new condition. I bent down, scanning the titles. My Hero, aha! My Hero, aha! My finger touched the paperback set of the show, volumes 1 to 12. I carefully slid it from its spot and carried it with my free hand, the other two bags hanging from my other arm. I walked up to the counter holding the book in my hand. I slid it onto the counter and started pulling out some yen bills from my wallet. The woman behind the counter was fairly young, maybe a year or so older than me, with her hair tied into two braids resting on her chest. She quietly took my money and handed me a receipt. I started to head out the door, but my eyes turned to the group of people near the back. Curiosity got the better of me, and I started to walk over to their congregation. I slowly crept up behind the group of people. Miss Sasaki was holding a book with what looked like the same cover on the poster board stand. She was reading aloud. Mimura could hear the subject's heavy footsteps as it slowly strolled around. She drew her gun close, checking the loadout. Still a few rounds left, but not like it mattered. Yards away, she could hear a deep snuffling sound, like a horse or a pig. Claws sketched across the metal floor. She could hear the animal's deep breaths, the beast's ribcage rising and falling. It was searching for her, she realized. She shut her eyes, desperately fighting off the rising sensation of fear in her gut. She drew a long, slow breaths. Her hands felt slimy against the cold metal butt of her pistol. She couldn't stop her hands from trembling. God help her, God help her, God help her. With her free hand, she felt the cyanide, pill in her breast patch. She gently set the book down face up. There was a round of applause, which I joined in with. Miss Sasaki stood up and started to gather her things, effectively ending the read aloud. The group seemed to mostly disperse, a few going to ask her for an autograph. I was about to leave when something caught my eye. I stopped. There she was. Her flowing violet hair going down her back, free of her school uniform. Faced away from me, ruffling through her knitted book sack. Yuri! Yuri? I'm not laughing. What? You wear glasses? What? What? Okay. The glasses are slightly tilted. I like the shirt you have. I like that one. Your trousers seem a bit... Oh, I thought the trousers ended here, which would look not that healthy. But yeah, they look a bit... What can I describe it? Shiny. Shiny would describe it best, probably. Weird. She turned to me, taken aback. She was wearing a neatly pressed white button shirt, which, may I add, did wonders in showing off her mature figure. Oh, yeah, of course. A brown belt held up her slim black pants, and her hair was combed back behind her shoulders. As always. She was wearing a pair of slightly thick rounded black reading glasses, matching her stylish black boots. Matty, what a pleasant surprise. She tucked some of her hair back behind her ear, face awash with blush. She clearly wasn't expecting to run into anyone from school. I smiled. It's great to see you, Yuri. Let me just say, you have a lovely outfit on. I wasn't being phony. She looked drop-dead gorgeous in her outfit. Yuri blushed, slightly turning her face away, hand up to the cheek to hide her blush. Thank you. It's different from my school wardrobe, isn't it? She awkwardly laughed. I nodded. It looks great on you. I love the glasses, I said, tapping my temple. She smiled in return. What brings you here, Matty? I never expected to see you in a bookstore. Not that I'm implying you're dumb or anything. I waved my hand slightly. Nah, I know what you mean. I was just in the neighborhood because I was shopping for some baking stuff Natsuki needed for tomorrow. She smiled slightly. Oh, how considerate of you. Monica told me not to worry about bringing supplies over to her home, so I don't need to worry about that. That's cool. I lifted my bag slightly. I just finished my shopping and decided to pop in here to browse around. I tried to conceal the bag holding the My Hero Academia manga behind the other two, but I'm pretty sure Yuri saw it anyway. Ah, hell, why am I even hiding it anyway? I remember telling her that I read mostly manga on my first day at the club, which was almost a week ago. Wow, time flies. A week ago, I had no interest in joining a club on my own merits, and here I am about to bake snacks for one. I glanced over at Miss Sasaki, busy talking to a trio of Japanese schoolboys, looking like fourth years, silently nodding as she spoke, showing complete respect. May I ask what brought you here? I said, turning back to Yuri. Yuri smiled. Oh, I was just here to attend a meet and greet with the Portrait of Markov author. You recall the book I talked about in one of our first meetings? Ah, right. That twisted Nazi torture novel or whatever. The cover on the poster stand definitely fell in tune with that sort of flavor of writing, especially with that haunting little excerpt I heard a few lines on. I nodded. Yes, I remember. Yuri smiled brighter, excited almost. It was wonderful. I got my original copy of Markov signed in and managed to win a pre-order ticket for her next book, Subject DX, in a raffle contest. Subject DX. Interesting. That is a prequel to one of her earlier works, which I've heard is similar to in tone to Markov. It's another book I have been postponing on reading until I finish rereading Markov. I smiled, listening to her. Yuri was enveloped in her books, entranced almost, and it was pleasant to hear her so eagerly talk about something she clearly loves and cares about. It's a heavy change of pace from the persona I know from the literature club. Usually so shy and timid, unless otherwise revealed. Even if I knew next to nothing about Miss Sasaki's works, I still love hearing Yuri talk so animatedly about it anyway. She stopped herself and blushed again. I'm sorry, Matty. You probably don't want to hear me ramble. She glanced away, washed in embarrassment. Embarrassment? That's an interesting word. I shook my head no. Absolutely not. I love hearing you talk about things you're interested in. Don't think I don't. You really mean that, Matty? Absolutely. Yuri's face saddened with a trace of disbelief lingering in her expression. Forgive me, but it's just, in my adolescence, I was always shunned for having such a deep interest in literature like Markov. I was told to keep it to myself or at home. Hearing you say that is... She twirled a strand of her hair. Enlightening. When I was looking up my next train ride back, I noticed that there was a coffee shop just a block or so away from the market. At least, I think it was a coffee shop. Hopefully it was open by now. Well, consider this a little sudden, but if you have a moment, would you like to join me for a drink? I know a coffee shop not very far from here. You can tell me more about some of the other pieces Miss Sasaki has written if you'd like. Yuri seemed taken aback. Really? Are you sure? I shrugged slightly. Sure, I'll pay for your drink if you want. I don't mind. Yuri blushed feverishly. Oh, there's no need for that. I can pay on my own. She paused. Then yes, if you'd like to, I would be more than happy to join you for a moment. She adjusted the book sack in her hand. There's a lot I want to tell you about. She started to move to the door, and I followed her. Really? I opened the door for her. Like what? Like what? Like what? Wow. Oh, hello. Okay, okay, this looks very nice. I really like this kind of style of all the original artworks. I don't know, it's not that exact. It's not that, you know, over detailish, but I don't know. It has some colorful and bright, just positive vibe around it, and I like that. And this is definitely not Starbucks. It's just coffee. You know, it's just coffee. No way! Oh no, Jimmy didn't say that, did he? Yes, he did. And then, you know, Christina, she just said something completely stupid, and Jimmy lost his shit. And yes, SAYORI'S. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's way too late. I actually need to go to bed, but I don't want to. I want to continue. But how? That doesn't even make any sense. Well, it would make sense if you read it. Yuri and I were seated beneath a fucking shaded table outside of the coffee shop I saw earlier. It's just a coffee shop, no Starbucks. Thankfully, it was open by the time of day, sparsely populated with mostly young faces, students and aspiring writers it seemed. We took a spot outside on the foyer, and a couple blocks away, the Tokyo Tower loomed. From my seat, I had a perfect view on the tower, rising up over 1,000 feet into the sky, towering above the street. I took a moment to take a bite of my apple fritter, glazed to perfection. Yuri slipped her steaming coffee, brewed heavy with milk and a dash of cinnamon shaving. A dash of Sayori. You, actually. You. Would you drink something that involves Sayori? Like, literally has parts of Sayori in it? No. The way Sasaki explains it is that the genetic code of the subject has the ability to quickly self-heal, even for large open wounds like gunfire or etc. During the story, it's able to take on military-level fire and emerge just fine in the end, even with direct hits to core regions of the body. Very interesting. The ability is the ultimate key to its survival and how it eludes the hunters for so long. So what, it's basically indestructible? How do they even kill it? I shouldn't spoil it for you. I set my apple fritter down and looked up at her. Oh come on Yuri, just a little bit. Question mark. Yuri playfully folded her arms, almost defiant. No, Matty, go ahead and read the book and maybe you'd learn how they kill it. Which they eventually do. I waved my hands in almost a defensive posture. Okay, I'll order a copy later when I get home. You've convinced me. I slightly laughed. Yeah. We fell silent for a moment. Cars honked and sped down the busy street. A trio of people sitting at the table next to us started to get up and leave. Yuri spoke. So, how are you enjoying the literature club, Matty? I nodded. Yes. That's definitely an answer to the question. It's been great. I'll admit I didn't have high hopes for me being in the club at first, but I'm pleased to say I'm loving it. All of you have been really sweet and nice to me, and I feel at home with you all. Forgive me if I haven't said it yet, but thank you for being so warm to me. Oh, it's my pleasure. It's good you feel comfortable with us. I know Monica was especially worried that you might be intimidated by us. It's silly, I know, but, well, you are the only boy in our club so far. Yeah, I know. I adjusted the cup on my dish. Well, maybe that'll change when we present for the festival, right? Yuri seemed to draw back when I said that. Matty, may I be honest? I nodded. Sure, what's wrong? Yuri traced the rim of her coffee cup with her finger, just like she did the day I first met her. Well, don't you enjoy the literature club the way it's currently? Yeah, I do. We are small, but closely knit. I thought about it for a moment. It's certainly nice to be in such a small club. It feels more homely, but certainly Monica is hoping her presentation for the festival is going to draw in more members? Something between members and people. If she wants to be able to compete and be on the level of the other, much more popular clubs, she's gonna want all of the people she can find to join. As for me personally, well, it certainly wouldn't hurt to have like 1 or 2 more new members. Not a whole lot, but a few fresh faces. What makes you ask? Yuri nervously adjusted her plate. Well, the idea to present at the festival wasn't my idea. Monica started it, and I was voted out 3-1 by the others. 3, 2, 1. This was a while before you joined. Really? I say surprised. Really? You decided on doing a presentation before I even joined? I thought Monica only told like 3 days in or something like that. Why did you say no? Yuri glanced away. I just like the club the way it is. How small it is, I mean. I'm not pleased at the idea of there being a lot of people I don't know joining a club I find a lot of happiness in. I just don't want that ruined. She glanced away again. Forgive me, I must seem so rude. I shook my head. No, it's completely understandable. You want to keep things the same, not wanting change is natural. I pause. Well, I don't want to seem negative, but I don't think you should worry about there being a line of people wanting to join the club after the festival. Yuri gave me a look. What makes you say that? My mind reeled back to my second day with the club, seeing the sign-up sheet hanging up next to the bulletin board with a row of empty name slots stretching down the end of the paper. Even so, it would be so rude to flat out say nobody likes literature the way the club does, especially to someone like Yuri. I'll reword it. Well, we do have a lot of competition. There is a computer engineering club, the culinary arts, political discussion, the anime club, theater arts, a lot of clubs. Yuri nodded. Yes, there's a lot of other, much more established clubs out there. We only just formed the literature club a month ago. Some of the clubs have been here since before we even started year one. And they have budgets and fundraisers and sponsors and money. Yuri trailed off. Perhaps you're right, Matty. She took a sip of her coffee. Maybe I'm worrying for nothing. Chances are we may just be overlooked by other students in favor of more popular clubs. Didn't Monica say she was going to perform a song at the festival? Yuri's face lightened, trying to recall. Yes, she was supposed to. Oh, wait. Did I say that before? Maybe. I remember Yuri getting excited like she usually does when Monica accidentally revealed it. My heart stung upon hearing mention of Sayori. I wonder what she's doing right now. Anything to keep the mind off her constant negative feelings? Has Monica said anything about it since? Yuri nodded. She mentioned that she wants to play the song for me tomorrow so I can give her a critique on it. I paused thoughtfully. That's sweet of her. You'll have to tell me how it sounds. Well, there's a C and then a G and then back to C and, you know, and she plays the guitar and the piano simultaneously because she's multi-talented and she has 4 arms actually. I'm not supposed to tell you because now that I've told you, she's going to kill me. Just kidding. Just move on. Don't let your thoughts get the better of you. I bet it will be great. Yuri smiled, a trace of red on her cheeks. Well, when Monica's the one behind it, you know it will be something beautiful. Another pause. What about you and Natsuki, Matty? I glanced up from my cup of coffee. Well, out of everyone else in the club, you two seem to be getting along the best. I could feel a heart rising to my cheeks. A heat rising to my cheeks. Don't take it the wrong way. Holy God. I just meant you two have become friends, I take it? I swallowed. Yeah, I think so. We got along pretty well. Yuri smiled. That's good. I see you got her a gift. I glanced up from my coffee cup. Yuri glanced down under our table and pointed directly into the bag containing my containing the My Hero Academia manga set. That manga you bought at the bookstore, is it not a gift for her? So she didn't notice, I thought to myself. I set the cup back down. Well, it was actually something I bought for myself. I said shakily. I see. What series is it? My Hero Academia. I don't think you've ever heard of it. Actually, I think I have. Yuri ran her finger along the edge of her cup. It's about superheroes, right? Kinda. I shifted in my seat. It's a world where a majority of the population has a quirk or a type of superhuman trait, say telekinesis or flight. The story follows this one boy, Midoriya Izuku, who was born without a quirk but adopts one from a famous hero and goes on to join a school for aspiring heroes. It's a good combination of slice of life, adventure, and fantasy. Yuri nodded silently, soaking in my every word. I think it's really good. It's not about horror, but I think you'd enjoy it. Does Natsuki like it? Yuri said, almost cutting me off. I paused. I'm not sure. She's probably heard of it, at least. I only know she's into parfait girls, which is pretty different from My Hero. Yuri said nothing. You could ask her if she's heard of it. At this, Yuri blushed. No, I couldn't. Why not? Yuri looks ashamed. I don't think Natsuki would want me to bug her. Why? I said, puzzled. In the time I've known her, Natsuki never really showed any ill feelings to Yuri, at least that I'm aware of. Unless that isn't the case. Yuri continued. I think it's because of how different we are as people and as writers. You know how she's very light with words, whereas I prefer to be very heavy. When we shared our poems, we'd slightly go back and forth on writing styles. I always defined my idea that a majority of the time, being vivid with your words is a more satisfying means of writing, where she rebukes with the concept of less is more. I'm not dismissing her, but I still defend my arguments. She glanced away. Still, I think she doesn't like me. She probably thinks I'm trying to talk down to her, which I would never do. Considering how small she is, she's probably dealt with people being so condescending to her for her whole life. As a fellow writer and fellow club member, I still respect her despite our differences. But I don't think she knows that. Yuri's deep, soothing voice chipped on the last line. A silence followed. I really don't know. I don't think that's the case, Yuri. She's never told me anything bad about you to me before. Whenever she's mentioned you, it's always been in a good way. And she isn't the type of person to hate criticism just for getting it. If anything, she probably wants to learn from you to help improve herself as a writer. Yuri sat silently for a moment. I don't know how she does it. I blinked. Sorry? How can she be so confident in herself? With her baking, her manga, her writing, I could never reach for that sort of self-loving, even if I try. Where I find it so hard to open up and discuss my writing unless otherwise, she eagerly shows it off and has a sense of pride over it. I just can't find it. How can she be like that? I didn't have an immediate response. Well, I'm not sure how to answer that, Yuri. She made a slight wave. It's okay, it was a dumb question anyway. Maybe you should ask her? What? Yeah, well, first actually message her. Start off with manga and say we're interested in it and you want a recommendation. That's sure to get her talking. But what if she doesn't want to talk to me? What if I find myself, my worst fears are true? I shifted in my seat and looked Yuri in the eyes. I can almost assure you that won't happen. Natsuki doesn't hate you, trust me. She's a lot nicer than you think. And I bet she wants to talk to you as well. Maybe she even has the same sentiments that you have for her. You'll never know until you try to reach out. I took the last bite from my apple fritter. You should try to and see what happens. Then build up from there. It's like that old saying, the greatest adventures began with a single step, and here's your first step. Yuri looked ready to tear up. I hope she didn't. Thank you, Matty. I appreciate your words a lot. If I get a chance, I'll try to message her later today. I smiled. Let me know how that goes. Yuri cleared her throat. So tell me more about this Midoriya Izuku character if you don't mind. Who did he get this quirk from? And there we go. I continued talking to her, explaining her the story of... Another hour passed and Yuri and I continued to talk about My Hero Academia. I eagerly filled her in on the basic plot, the antagonists, and where you could watch it. I recommended a few streaming sites. After that, I told her about a couple of more manga series and their adaptations she might like. She listened patiently, asking a bunch of questions about the plots and characters. She seemed very interested to know about what kind of series Natsuki liked, but all I told her was, to her slightly dismay, that she'd have to ask for herself. Soon she got a call and told me she had to return home. Quite understandable, it was starting to grow dark. I carefully took our table trash and dumped it, and said my goodbyes to her. I reaffirmed my promise to buy the books she so eagerly told me about. Hopefully it doesn't cost too much, and started to whatever. I glanced down at my phone, seeing there were a few texts in the literature club chat. I opened up. Don't forget everyone's task for tomorrow. Yuri, feel free to come over at any time you want. You already have my address. Just text before you show up. Matty, did you get the stuff I needed? I quickly typed. Yeah, I just spent all day getting them. Yeah, I know. You're welcome, lol. Text me and I'll show you what I've managed to find. I clicked my phone off and shoved it into my pocket. I paused for a moment to retrieve my headphones, untangle them, and plug them into my phone. Up above, I could hear the silent whoop 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 of a passing helicopter. Night was beginning to set, the eco-friendly street lightings gently flickering on. Waving a final goodbye to Yuri, standing by the street's edge waiting for a taxicab, I turned to walk across the street back to the train station. You've unlocked a special poem. And of course my microphone had to stop recording right at this point, right before I could read this special poem. But I still want to read it because this is not just a slightly worrying letter. This is a suicidal note from Sayori. And I don't know what to think about it, but I'm gonna read it first. I'm sorry. I let all of you down. I've been nothing but a burden to the club, to my friends, to my family, to life itself. You can't imagine the endless pain I go through every day, knowing how truly worthless I am. A failure to society, to my school, to my loved ones. The crushing feeling that no matter how hard you try or what you do in life, you will never truly mean anything to anyone. I just can't take it anymore. Monica, I'm sorry I've let you down as a vice president and as a friend. You must feel so ashamed to know me, but I hope this act will free you in some way. Yuri, you're one of the smartest people I've ever met. Even if I didn't understand your words sometimes, I still love hearing you talk. I know you're gonna be really a good writer one day. I just wish I could be around to read them. Natsuki, you've always been such a sweet and nice person to me, and thank you for always making me treats, which are some of the best I've ever had. Thanks for being my best friend. To the person reading this, you've always been my dearest friend, and I thank you forever for that. I'm sorry for always holding you back and stressing you out over keeping me happy. Thank you for everything. Mom and Dad, you don't have to worry about me anymore. You can live your lives happily and not spend every aching minute stressing out over your damaged, awful daughter. It's okay, you don't have to worry about me anymore. Finally, the sunshine will make the rain clouds go away. Thank you all for everything you did for me, but I'm giving up. Love, Sayori Azoka. This letter is not just heartbreaking, it also creates a lot of unanswered questions in my head. For example, is Sayori already dead? Did she already kill herself without me actually knowing? And is this actually the last thing that remains? Is this her legacy? Also, how will the story continue if she's actually dead? I know that the next chapter will be called Sayori's Sunrise, which can be interpreted in a lot of different ways. It's either like Sayori's Sunrise, she actually recovers and it's not her last note forever. Or Sayori's Sunrise in a metaphorical way, like she died in peace or something like that. But I don't want to speculate, especially not on this kind of sensitive topic. So, a lot of questions, maybe they will be answered in the next episode. But still, thank you so much for watching this one. If you liked it, despite this very, very, very dark end, tell me somehow as always, and I'll see you all in the next video.